Yo, what's up guys? It is Ferro and today I'm bringing you guys a discussion slash theory, whatever you want to take it as. And we're going to be talking about the strongest Marine revealed. Okay, it's not revealed, but you guys are probably thinking I'm talking about Garp, the man who chased after the Pirate King for years and almost caught him. And the vast majority of people think of him as the strongest Marine ever. Now, they never said Garp was equal to Roger, but they did say he cornered Roger and almost killed him. But that doesn't necessarily equate to strength. Now, I do have Garp around that Fleet Admiral level back in his prime days, or even Yonko level. However, I do not think Garp was the strongest Marine. Now, you guys may have never even heard of this individual that I'm about to talk about because of how short of an appearance he had in the entire show. Now, they've only showed him twice in the entirety of One Piece. The first one being his initial introduction, and we learned that his name is Kong and that he holds the title of the world's government commander-in-chief, which is a position that is higher than that of the Fleet Admiral, and his power and authority is only second to that of the Gorosei. And the second time we see him is during episode 0 or chapter 0, which is during Shiki's flashback. He was the individual that was telling Garp to become an admiral, but Garp, always refused. And at that point in the story, he was the Fleet Admiral. So he was kind of like the top dog in Roger's era, Now, in the most recent chapter of One Piece, Oda kind of gave us a hint that the Fleet Admirals are, indeed stronger than the Admirals in terms of rank and authority within the world government and the Navy. Now, I don't think there's like a crazy difference between Admiral and Fleet Admiral, especially with the previous the previous Admiral trio we had. We saw that Akainu and Aokiji both had the potential to become Fleet Admiral, and I don't think Kizaru is far off. If the Fleet Admiral is 100, the Admiral is 95. Now, when it comes to the individual known as Kong, I feel like there's something special about him, especially the fact that he has a rank that is above that of the Fleet Admiral. And even when Sengoku left his position as Fleet Admiral, Kong still held his position as Commander-in-Chief, which is something to note. And I feel like he's the strongest Marine of all time. And even during Roger's era, him being the top dog of the Marines of that era definitely meant he was going toe-to-toe with the strongest pirates, including people like Roger, Whitebeard, and Shiki. But he's obviously old now and not in his prime, but just like Garp, Sengoku, and Tsuru, these guys are all old now and they're like restricted top tiers. Now, we know that he supervises over the Marines and even the Cypher Pole units. He might be the person who is responsible for developing the Rokushiki techniques that all the Cypher Poles and the Vice Admirals use in combat. I feel like the world government holds Kong in high regards, and maybe this was towards his achievements in the past. Now, when I say world government, I'm talking about CP0, Celestial Dragons, and the Gorosei. There's also a theory saying that Kong could be a part of the Monkey D family, specifically being Garp's father or brother because of common traits that could be linked between all of them. The left eye scars, animal representations in their name, and the family line has been in all factions in the world. Luffy being a pirate, Dragon being a revolutionary, Garp being a marine, and Kong being a world government affiliate. And the age gap between Garp and Kong is possible because we know that people in One Piece can age up to about 140 years old, as we saw with Dr. Kureha. And there's the whole thing with the immortal the Gorosei, these guys are immortal, and maybe Kong knows about that secret too. I don't know. Or maybe him and Garp are just brothers or cousins. But being a part of the highest echelons of the government, I doubt Kong's full name will ever be public because those guys essentially live in secrecy, kind of like the CP0. Also, there's something to think about, and that's outside influence. Oda drew Garp as a kid, and as a kid, we can clearly see Garp most likely heading towards the route of being a pirate. Now, in this picture, we see him obviously with a treasure chest. That just bleeds piracy right there. So what made Garp do a 180 and become a Marine? Again, as I said before, outside influence. Just like how Garp wanted Luffy and Ace to become Marines, someone tried to influence Garp to join the Marines. And honestly, if he had to be somebody, it had to be someone who was a Marine themselves. And the person that comes to mind is Kong. And it was also stated that the D's are the Celestial Dragon's worst enemy. Garp being a Marine defies that, as the Celestial Dragons hold some power over the Marines, and Garp may not be taking direct orders from them. He's still in a party that is being controlled by the Celestial Dragons. So him becoming a Marine definitely wasn't something he chose by himself. And when Dragon does infiltrate the Reverie at Marijoa, I feel like he's gonna have some interaction with Kong, maybe by calling him grandfather or something, maybe uncle, I don't know. And this is when people think we might get to see that Kong versus Dragon. Again, this is just a theory that has been like floating around for a while, a bit too far-fetched, but still a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if this actually came true. After all, Oda is big on themes. But in regards to Kong's power, he might just have the mythical King Kong zone, yo. King Kong. Whereas he can literally transform into a King Kong with, you know, Kaki, and that might be crazy overpowered, you know, kind of similar to Sengoku's Devil Fruit, but I can see his version being more destructive and physically stronger overall. And maybe it's one of the most treasured Devil Fruits in the entirety of One Piece. Maybe on the same caliber as Kaido's Zoan Devil Fruit. You know, Kong is one of the most mysterious characters in the series right now. I could even say he's more mysterious than the Gorosei, because like we know what the Gorosei are doing right now. We know what their mindset is, but right now Kong is just like, where did this guy come from, you know? But yeah, what do you guys think? Like the video if you like it, dislike the video if you disliked it. Comment down below, do you think Garp is the strongest Marine, or do you think Kong might be the strongest Marine? Subscribe for more One Piece content, and I will see you guys later. Peace.